Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, let's see who's popping in.
I love it.
Welcome everyone.
Waiting list and all of a sudden your meeting room is full. I love it.
Yeah,
Hi
okay,
everyone.
so we got...
You can hear us. You can just send a yes or a thumbs up or something in the chat. Just make sure that everyone can see us and hear us and all of that.
Yeah, guys, please just use the chat. Let us know if you can hear us. Everything is all good.
Yay, 2 yeses so far. That's awesome. I love it.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead.
Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to another Shopify Meetup. It's obviously a virtual meetup this time. It's our first virtual meetup, but we're stoked nonetheless.
I'm very excited.
Thank you to you, Africa. Yeah, for always, helping us get this together, setting up such an amazing event.
Well, we love
Even
it.
virtual feels
great content.
comfortable.
So
yeah,
people always have questions about Shopify and SEO and all of that. So it's always flipping awesome when you guys are keen to chat. And especially if you guys are based in Cape Town. So all of those people that usually can't hear you speak actually get to hear you, which is awesome.
that's great.
That's great.
That's great.
I think the one thing that everyone's going to be missing out on is all the freebies that they usually get at the meetups, which is too bad.
That is too bad. But, we're trying to make plans and get vouchers out to everyone. So hopefully
that'd be great.
Soon, yeah.
Like an email or
like Google vouchers or PayFast vouchers and things like that. So
that's sick. Yeah,
so
that's great.
Says she can't hear.
Okay, yeah. So we're just gonna spend a few minutes just waiting for everyone, and then we'll get started. So for those who've just joined us, thanks for joining in.
We have a full house. This is awesome.
Really great, yeah.
How many people in so far? Can we see a total?
20 people.
That's great. That's great.
Just dropped out. So it was 25.
That's awesome. Hi, Art. Can see your face. It's good to see you, man. If you can hear us. Don't worry, we can't hear you, but you can hear us.
Thanks for joining.
Feel free to use the chat to speak to us, guys. We're more than happy to just, strike up a conversation, see how everyone's doing. Is everyone doing well? Just waiting for everyone to come in, and then we'll get started in a couple minutes.
Still admitting people. This is the best.
Oh, do you have to admit it one by one?
Yeah, it's just a lot easier because it
could you let them
see who's there, who's not there. So
yeah. For those people that just joined, welcome. Send us a message on the chat. Let us know if you can hear us or if you can't hear us.
Okay,
so try to help you out.
So hopefully she can also hear us now.
We're good.
Asks, how are you guys? Yeah,
we're good. Really, really good.
Hope you're good as well. Hope you're keeping safe. Hope everyone's keeping safe. I hope everyone actually is keeping physically and mentally healthy.
Yes, actually. That's really, really important. Mental health has never been more important as it is now. It's affecting so many people. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just going through the same thing every day for a long time, can make anyone go crazy. So.
It's Hugo.
Hi, Hugo. Awesome. We see you. Okay, cool.
All right, so you guys are happy to start, and then I'll just admit people, as they come through. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Danny. I'm from New Africa. So we are the ones that sort of organize these events with Shopify. And we are super excited to have Brandon and Alistair back. So we love having them as part of our Shopify meetups. So it's super cool that we get to have them here on an online webinar where we can record it and even send it to you guys later. So we're very keen. Before I get into the housekeeping rules, I just want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors. So they actually haven't had much to do with the Shopify meetups because it's all online. But a big thank you to PayFast and Insaka. So if you haven't yet, go check them out. They are awesome e-commerce partners to have in South Africa. And then quickly, some housekeeping rules. All right, so you can choose to keep your camera on, you can switch it off. I have muted everyone from my side and you will not be able to unmute yourselves. So this is literally just to make it a little bit easier for Alistair and Brandon to present. Throughout the talk, you guys are welcome to chat on the chat feature, ask questions, give us your opinions, and we'll keep a constant eye on it. And then once they're done with their presentations, they're going to go into a Q&A. So they are going to see how the questions have been going, and then they are going to run with the Q&A as however they feel it will work best. So either they'll read the question and answer it that way, or we'll just start a discussion. Yes, and I think that's just about it. If you have any issues, you're welcome to send them on the chat function, and we can try and sort that out before Alistair and Brandon get into the depth of the presentation. So yeah, cool. Over to you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Danny.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Welcome everyone. Obviously, we're so stoked to be here. This is our third Shopify Meetup now. We usually host them in Cape Town, but we're super stoked to have it as our first virtual meetup. So a big thanks to everyone that's came out, and we hope to give you guys a little bit of value today that you can apply to your online stores. As I know, online has become a lifeline during times, and I hope today that you guys get something out of it. So yeah. Brandon and I are both going to be talking, back and forth. And as Danica said, if you got some questions, just add them in the chat, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what we'll do. So, today's topic is just talking about how you can optimize your Shopify store. We're going to try to keep the entire presentation and just, the way we talk, just kind of a bit informal and more relaxing, just because we know everyone's just, chilling at their homes or wherever you are. And I think Alistair can start us off.
Cool. So, we have 4 main goals today. The goals are basically to show you, with everything that's going on right now, I think everyone can agree that e-commerce has really, become center stage during this pandemic, and it's grown a lot during these past couple of months, and it's just going to keep on going. Second goal is to show you guys how to design your stores with the user in mind, and we're going to talk a little bit about user experience and how to optimize your store in that sense. Then we're going to go over how to increase conversions by putting a structured CRO process in place. The value of that is unparalleled when we're talking about trying to increase your conversions on a consistent basis. So that's quite exciting.
And just during those point 3 and 4, we're going to talk about metrics that you can track that are important, things that you need to know that you might not have been aware of before, and also metrics, just 15 things that you can start doing today or now that can immediately increase conversions on your online store.
100%. And also, I know that the presentation is going to be recorded, but if you guys want a PDF version of our presentation, just email us and we'll get it to you. Cool. So just a little bit about who we are. We're obviously an e-commerce agency here in the southern suburbs, Cape Town. We love what we do. We're Shopify partners. We love the ecosystem of Shopify. It's powerful and simplified, and it's also really effective. We also specialize in SEO audits, building a strategy on how to increase your organic traffic, and obviously how to increase your conversions on a consistent basis, but also just how to, build a process and how to monitor that on an ongoing basis. We're also big fans of big data, analytics and how to extract data from your analytics to provide results. So the first part of our presentation is obviously looking at the opportunity. So I know there's a lot of text here, but just bear with me. I thought it was some really cool information that we found, but basically Visa conducted a survey recently and found that 64% of consumers in South Africa bought groceries online for the first time, and 53% made their first online purchase from a pharmacy. So, this type of data is telling you, that the e-commerce industry has basically exploded here in South Africa. There's more customers online or going online, and that means there's more opportunity for online store owners like yourself. 29% of online consumers say they are doing far more shopping online than before the coronavirus outbreak, while 65% say they are visiting physical stores less, which is obviously understandable with everything going on, but it also just means that, like I said, there's a lot of opportunity online, and the name of the game is really just how to find that opportunity work for your business. Standalone brick and mortar stores are no longer sufficient as consumer demand is more rapid. So this is just us wanting to show you guys that now that everything that's going on, basically there's new customers, more opportunity, and the e-commerce industry is just growing more and more as we go along.
Especially for people who haven't moved into the online space yet. If they haven't taken their business digital now, they're really losing out on a huge opportunity to, instead of being positioned, especially for local businesses, small local businesses, you can definitely understand the value of going from only being accessible to areas around you to being accessible to the entire country, and that in itself, that's value that you can't just get from anywhere. So opening an online store just makes so much sense nowadays, and this is why we're going to explain to you how you can obviously optimize your online stores for conversions.
Yeah. So just looking at some of the trends that we're seeing, obviously we look at big commerce a lot. They're a big data agency that have a lot of insights into everything online, and these are the type of trends that we're seeing. It might be relevant to your business, it might not, but basically there's a lot more things are happening online. And it basically means that you have to change your business to fit the times. And we could go on and on about how they can do that, but we just wanted to give you a snapshot of.
Hi everyone. It looks like they are having some issues. So let's just, if everyone can just hang in there for me while I check, see what's happening. There's Brandon.
Sorry about that. Our internet just cut out, and I think, so sorry to everyone about that. Hold on, I'm just trying to get Alistair back here. You should be back soon.
That was really quick, like quick recovery.
No, yeah, I mean, it happens from time to time, and it's just a problem with our actual line. But I don't see that happening again anytime sooner. I definitely hope it doesn't.
Better than what happened
to everyone about that
last time.
Oh, really?
Where we had load shedding, like all of us had load shedding at the same time. It was a disaster.
Very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. I didn't see that happening tonight, but I guess can't really be too reliable on South Africa's platforms. Anyways, let me just continue from where Alistair left off. Yeah. So, okay, great. So looks like he's back. I don't know who's streaming this. No, that's me. Okay, great. Does everyone see my screen? Yes. But this doesn't look like it's my screen.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry about that. Obviously, our internet cut out.
Okay, great. We're back.
Probably the worst time that happened, but I hope you guys can forgive me. Anyways, so back to talking about the e-commerce in the pandemic. Big Commerce found out, they basically found that a lot of people are offering discounts and incentives. And this is obviously a big tip, but if you can work that into your into your store, then obviously it's a big plus. But what I think is a big takeaway from this is the free shipping aspect. So if you can, I always say, shipping is a huge sticking point for many shoppers. So either be 100% transparent with your shipping costs, or if you can, swing it, offer free delivery. So the second point that we wanted to take you through was basically, designing your stores with the user in mind. So, this is obviously referred to as the user experience, or UX, whichever you guys are more familiar with. But it's basically about improving the shopping experience for your users. And we always call this about, removing pain points from the customer's journey on your site, so that, there's less pain points to check out. There's less pain points you have, the more checkouts you have. So
the idea is to build around your users. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I'm just saying the idea was to build around your users, with them in mind and their experience, and how you want to make essentially your website or online store as easy to understand as possible and as easy to use as possible.
100%, yeah. So the navigation is obviously the first thing that the first thing that you guys could look at, is having an easy to use navigation, that has your branding, your calls to action, has a search functionality, and also access to the customer shopping cart is obviously, like the bare minimum that you should have in your navigation. This is just so that, there's easy flow of your users across your site as they go through their customer journey. The second of which is obviously looking at your product content. As a bare minimum, each product you'd want to have an in-depth description and some HD imagery around that product. These are the things that users are going to be looking for when they shop on your online store. And if there isn't something like that, then it's what we call a pain point. And as soon as there's a pain point, that's something that's stopping them from checking out, and that's obviously you losing the sale.
And if I could just step in for a second, a lot of people nowadays are just taking images, front, back, and side images, and they're not understanding the point would be to take a picture of your product where the image can give value to the visitor. So anyone can look at the front, if you're selling a bag, it's more than just the bag, the front of the bag that you're looking for. It's more than just the design. What exactly can this bag do for me? And, you don't want to be putting all of this into text in your description, because you can also put it as an image. And what they say, an image can speak 1,000 words. So just wanted to add in that.
100%. Obviously, also, when we look at the checkout, you want an easy to use checkout. That's quick and on par with industry standards. And obviously, if you're on Shopify, this is something that you don't really need to worry about. Shopify doesn't really allow you to change your checkout or customize your checkout in terms of functionality, because they've tested it on hundreds of different stores and done multiple A and B testing, and that's kind of why they don't let you do that. But our only advice would be to maybe go to the checkout and customize it so that it's relevant to your brand, in the sense that you've added a logo, you've added your relevant colors, and it's a seamless experience from a product page to the checkout.
Definitely. And you also got to keep in mind the consistency, why he would say add in your logo, add in your colors, is because they want, even from a social media point of view, you want your posts to be relative to your brand, so it can carry across, especially if you're creating ads that you want to boost, or business manager if you want to create some actual digital ads, or even Google ads, display ads. You want to make sure that the digital assets that you're creating still have some sort of relevance to your brand, not just slamming your logo onto an image that has colors that don't really relate to anything that's a part of your business or anything like that. So you got to think about how to create consistency across all multiple platforms. That way your user can feel safe and secure and know and not have to worry that they may have, you know, stepped into a place that they shouldn't have been stepping into. But yeah, and this also helps increase your bounce rates and your, you know, your bounce rates, which we'll go into a bit later on.
And then obviously another part of improving the experience is having upfront shipping costs. You know, I can't emphasize this enough at how much, you know, not having this upfront and not having this transparent is something that is going to bounce users away from your store. So yeah, I'm just going to, you know, iterate it again that if you can, you know, offer free shipping. And just, you know, cover that cost yourself. You know, with Africa, you guys are getting extremely affordable shipping rates, but if you can't, just be 100% transparent about the shipping costs. Have it on the product page or on your shipping policies, just so that the consumer can easily find it.
Okay.
Cool. And then obviously some other points that you guys should be looking at is having abandoned cart emails. You know, an automated abandoned cart email is something that's you know, you can automate through Shopify now, or you can use, you know, I know there's a ton of free apps that you can get on the App Store that can help you automate your abandoned checkout emails. And, you know, it's really just leaving money out on the table. So if you can come up with a really great way to, you know, get that customer back into your funnel, then, you know, you should go and do that. And the exit intent pop-ups is something, you know, we do stay away from. But if it is, you know, part of your brand, then you guys should definitely look at something like that. It's just another way of capturing your users' attention before they exit your funnel. And the name of the game really is to just make sure that you have, you know, your users' attention on your page for as much as possible, so that you can actually, you know, convert the user. Cool. And then obviously designing with the user in mind means designing, you know, responsively. And when we mean responsively, we mean designing for multiple screen sizes, because I'm sure you know, as you know, there's so many different, you know, products out there. There's so many different devices and screens that people are surfing the web on and going onto your store on. You want to make sure that, you know, your store has been optimized for all screen sizes. You know, and that can be as simple as, you know, adding a mobile banner on your homepage as well as a desktop banner, so that it's optimized for mobile viewers as well as desktop viewers. So that's another thing that you could look at doing. You know, and it's, you know, mobile has obviously become very pertinent in today's day and age. So obviously looking to design for the mobile view is something that could, you know, increase your conversion rates, you know, either exponentially or even marginally, but, you know, it's definitely something that should be focused on. Wouldn't you agree, Brad?
Definitely. No, definitely. Designing from a mobile first perspective, because from what we've seen and what we've experienced, approximately, you know, 60 to 80% of all of our clients' visitors, you know, are stem from mobile. And then a lot of people then move on to desktop to make the conversion, but people nowadays aren't even afraid to just make the purchase on their phones or their tablets. So, you know, having a seamless mobile experience can definitely yield more or better conversions.
Yeah.
Higher quality conversions, which means you're bringing higher quality traffic, but you can also benefit with more conversions. Yeah.
Cool. And you know, what we have been recommending, and it's quite new in the industry right now, it's something that Google actually released. It's basically creating an accelerated mobile page for your store. So there's actually an app in the Shopify store that you can download, and essentially you rebuild your theme in a way that's, you know, really optimized for mobile. Brad, I think you know a little bit more about this. How would you explain AMP?
So accelerated mobile pages is essentially building, instead of building your one theme, let's talk about this in a Shopify point of view. So instead of building from one theme, that you would instead build on two themes. So you would have one theme that would be your desktop and one theme that would be your mobile. And basically what you would be doing is you'd be segmenting the content. And what you would also do is downsize the content that goes onto your mobile. So you would change the image sizes. You would reduce the density of these images. You would also upload your logo, maybe position it differently. You can actually redesign your entire theme and give your mobile users a completely different user experience in comparison to their desktop experience. And that way you can actually use your data that you've collected through Google Analytics to make decisions based on two different platforms, which I see a lot of value coming from.
100%. But I mean, it's basically just to reaffirm, it's designing your store or making changes to your store with your user in mind. The key thing that you need to take away from this is that, when you're designing with your user in mind, you need to basically place yourself in your user's shoes and, design it in such a way that makes sense for your users. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the experience that your users have on your store. If they have a good experience, they'll most likely come back. They'll most likely tell people about your store. And that's how organic research, organic traffic, builds, and that's how you build your brand. So that experience it has transformed from, brick and mortar to having, going into a store, experiencing the layout and the feel of that store in person. It's now come online, and that's essentially how you have to think about it.
Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to take you guys through the last point 3 and point 4, which is increasing your conversions by putting a structured CRO process in place, as well as optimizing your store for efficiency. So let's go right into it. If we were going to talk about CRO, there is definitely not one fix to conversion rate optimization. It's consistently ongoing. And the reason why is because your visitors are also changing. People change. And as you grow as a business, you need to make sure that your online store is top shape for the visitors that you're targeting. And conversion rate is incremental site improvements to get visitors to take actions that your company divides as conversions. And these are either purchases or sign up to your newsletter or, leads and things like that. So now if we move on to your CRO process, we can talk about, defining your conversions, which are your goals. It's the best way to ideate this is to directly turn your business goals into your conversion goals. And that's the easiest and simplest way I can put it. And you can brainstorm and prioritize exactly what you need to do to start increasing these specific conversions once you've defined your goals. And then what you will do after that is create, a campaign whereby you test growth in different types of manners. So you can either create a Google Ads campaign based on whether or not you should point people to the shoes on your store or the sandals on your store, and see how they perform on that. And this is like, let's take, for example, you own a shoe store and, you only have 2 types of products, which would be your sandals and your shoes. And you want to find out which of your customers, which collections they're accessing the most and which funnel they're going into. And so you would set up these campaigns to try to narrow that down, understand where they're going, understand your users. And then once you do that, you've got this information and you can see what is working and what isn't working. You can do this in multiple ways. And one of these ways are A and B testing, whereby you create a specific page 2 different ways, and you point 50% of your visitors to one and 50% of those another visitors to the other, and then compare the results. Either that or you run the 2 pages at different points in time, but we see people doing the former first.
Yeah, I think the most important thing out of a CRO process, if we could simplify it as much as possible, is basically, what do you want from your online, not from your online store, but from your campaigns. Obviously, everybody wants to make money. That's why we're here. But it might not be, as simple as just it's not as simple as that. It's not just sales. You know, you first got to start up with people signing up for your newsletter database so that you can actively market to those people, because, you know, email and newsletters is obviously a really great channel to advertise to people. You know, if you're doing other things like AdWords or social media marketing, you know, where are those campaigns going? Are they going to, you know, a specific page? And if they are going to a specific page, what is the goal that you're looking at from that page? Is it the email sign up, or is it the sale? So define your conversions is the first aspect of it, and then, you know, brainstorm and prioritize ways in which you can improve that. You know, it might be that you change a button color. It might be that you know, change some wording or rearrange your product your page layout. It could be as simple as that. But those are the type of brainstorming and those type of changes that you need to make, whilst also remembering to design, you know, for the user in mind. Don't forget that. And then you basically test it. You create an hypothesis, sorry, and you say, okay, I hypothesize that, yeah, if I change this button here, the add to cart button from gray, which is quite dull, to something that's more, you know, contrasting and pops out, and you change it to something, you know, like red, just as an example, you know, this is going to increase my add to carts to, you know, by 20%. And you test it out, you know, and if it works, you know, it works. If it doesn't, you reevaluate, and you try again. And that's basically what, you know, the conversion rate process is. And, you know, eConsultancy in 2013 actually said the value of a plan like that, the value of a process, of just having a process of thinking in how to increase your conversions, you know, is worth 200%. It's worth 200% in the sense that it's going to create value in the long term. I don't know how they came up with the 200% number, I'm honest with you, but it basically means that it's value to have a process in place, you know, so that you guys can increase your conversions, because you're actively thinking about your user and how they're interacting with your store, how they're looking at your products, you know, what's missing. And that's how you
as well as
come up with that.
as well as thinking of the most efficient ways to do that. You know,
100%.
that's why of the process is there, so that you don't have to come back and think of how would we do this campaign again. You know, you have the seamless process. You're going to create, let's say, for example, you're sending out an email, you know, create the email, you know, design it in this way, have a consistent design, you know, carry your brand straight throughout, you know, put it on platforms like your social media. You know, you got to have the entire process structured so that you never have to stumble anywhere along the line.
Yeah. Cool. And then obviously, if we get into the factors of conversion rate optimization, what are the primary elements that impact the journey of your user? You know, so what are the things that we think you should focus on, you know, in terms of optimizing your store for conversions? Obviously, the first thing that you need to look at is your landing pages. So landing pages are, you know, what your marketing campaigns direct your traffic to. You know, are these user friendly, and are they, you know, directed in or created in such a way that they've only got that one conversion that you have in mind? You know, and within that landing page are going to be things like your website copy. Is it relevant? Is it engaging? You know, I know Brandon can go on and on about content and how, you know, it can create you know, wonders for your business. But you know, it's basically these small little things that you have to think about, these small little aspects of your business, online store that you have to think about, that essentially are going to increase your conversions.
So like for your website copy, is the website copy giving as much value to your visitor as possible? You know, telling them exactly what's in the product in as easy to understand way as possible. And so website copy plays a big role in teaching your user or in helping your user understand, your visitor understand, you know, what you do, what this product is, and getting them to want to purchase the product, obviously. So you have your two pieces, you know, you can make it either enticing, or you can make it extremely informative. It just is based on your brand. But then it also carries on to your call to actions. If we're going to talk about copy, your call to actions are essentially your buttons on your store. So a lot of people have the shop now, learn more, but we've seen now it works much better if you are more specific in your buttons, informing the user of exactly where it'll take them. So instead of saying shop now, it says shop the red leather collection, shop the blue hats collection, things like that. And then another factor of your CRO is your navigation and site structure. Alistair did speak briefly about this earlier, but essentially what that is making your menus also simple to understand. People are going over the top by creating super complex mega menus that have too many links on them that confuse the visitor. Just have your hover, open the drop down, and then you can just see the collection, the product types, all the structure for your visitor. Make it easy for them to navigate. And then as soon as you've tested or you've seen some data along this, the pages that your visitors are going to the most, you can move it around. You can move that further to the top and see, will that affect them visiting that page, or will more people go to that page, less people go to that page? The positioning all matters, and this is why UX is important. So another factor of your conversion rate optimization is your forms. Customer touch point, it's a mix between simplicity and functionality to get visitors to convert. And that's a type of conversion. You can get your form like saying, hey, fill in this email address, and then you can get 10% off. Subscribe to
sorry, Brandon. That's a great point there. Actually, you could establish 2 points of conversions on your page. There's obviously the add to cart and the completing the conversion. The sale is obviously what we want, but if you can't get that sale, you can at least get the customer's email address, and if you get the customer's email address, you add them to your database, and that's a point that you can market to later on. So it's a conversion because it gives you a little digital asset that you can use as you go down the line. And that's something that forms are great at doing. If your business it has got really, really high quality products, and you might find that you're not providing enough content for your customer, provide a form that for feedback. This is another thing that you can look at, getting direct feedback from your customers. And obviously the last point in a huge factor in conversion rate optimization is the page speed. So how quick are your pages loading? And this ties in quite well with what we spoke about with accelerated mobile pages. The less data a page needs to load, the less frustration it's going to cause your users, especially if there's places, as you can see, we cut out of internet. There's some places don't have good internet, so you want to make sure that you accommodate those users. What do you think about that, Brad? I know you're big into page speeds.
Yeah, there's a few ways you can tackle page speed. You can decrease the size of your imagery. You can make it so that your page doesn't have too many elements on it. And this is the whole way that it works, is that every time your page has a big element, and each element needs to be fired to your browser from the server. Every time it needs to be called. And the more elements you have on your page, or the more complex the scripts, the longer it takes your browser to interpret this data and turn it into the page that you see. And that's why, and as for a visitor, just from a customer's point of view, you don't want to land on a website and wait 15 seconds. I mean, even 5 seconds nowadays is a bit too much. 3 seconds, with the type of internet that's out there lately. The quicker you can serve your content to your visitor, the better and higher or more chances they'll be more likely to interact with your store. And this isn't just page speeds. This can also be in different other aspects of your business too. You got to think about how you can put yourself in the position of the customer and give them as much value as possible. So the next thing we talk about is value. And actually that's the biggest point between, getting your customer to convert. It's got to be a trade. you're always trading with your visitors. You got to give them something worth performing an action for. Then this is where value propositions come in place. And a value proposition, just for those who don't know, is something like, sign up for my newsletter database and sign up for my weekly newsletters, and I'll give you 10% off your first order, or 20% off. The better the value, the more likely the visitor is to perform a specific action. So in this case, the lift model that we're about to talk about, the value proposition is the plane. The relevance towards your visitor is how the plane lifts. You want the plane to fly. And if you've got clarity, which is the next point, it's about how easily your value proposition is communicated across to your visitor. Is it easily readable? Is it hard to understand? Is it too complex, or do you have to get them to do a lot of things? And so, getting them to do a lot of things is actually the next thing that we're going to talk about.
I just want to add one thing here. So the value proposition, what Brad said is obviously 100% with the discount vouchers and whatever is a way to increase, but let's also think of the value proposition here as the value that you provide your customers from the product that you're selling to them. What you're selling on your store is the value that they're getting from interacting with it. So, the whole point of digital marketing and conversion rate optimization, what we're doing here in what your online store is effectively communicating that value in such a way. And this lift model that Brandon's explaining to you is basically how the different factors of how you can take that value proposition and then effectively communicate it to your customers.
How to create a good value proposition is essentially what the lift model is all about. And so if we go back, just straight to the beginning, the value proposition is the plane. You want to get it to lift. You want people to act. You want people to perform that action. So it doesn't have to be giving them a discount. You can always give your visitors value in so many different other aspects. Shop one, get one free. Things like that. And that's value. That's relevant to them. They would love an additional product for free. Oh, how easy is it? Clarity. How easy is it? Oh, I just need to click and add one of these products in, and I just get the value already. And then I wanted to dive into distraction before Alistair needed to make his point. Distraction will pull, and anxiety will always pull your value proposition down. Do you have too many value propositions on your site? You got to keep your goals straightforward. You can't keep on having too many goals that distract your visitor from the main goal, which is to convert. And your conversion can be, different types of goals, of course, but you want to make sure that the funnel towards that goal is seamless without any distractions. And a distraction is like, let's say I land on a homepage of a website and I see a slider. I'm sure a lot of you know what a slider is, especially if you're involved with Shopify, but essentially it's the banner that you first see when you land on any online store nowadays. And you might notice a trend that a lot of people have more than one slider, and it can be distracting because one second you're looking at a watch that they're showcasing for, a specific value, $30 off, for example. And then, before you can even click the button, it switches over to shopping about jeans. And all of a sudden I'm interested in jeans. Where can this take me? And then another switch, so distractions can get your visitors to sway from the primary goal. And then anxiety, elements on the page that might chase them away. So this is either your user interface might be designed in a way that doesn't make your visitors feel safe, as it might not be relevant to your brand. Like, let's say the way your website looks does not look the same way as does not carry the brand on your about page, things like that, or even just for something small as anxiety. What other things can also cause anxiety for value proposition?
So, I think this ties into what I was talking about earlier about those pain points. So, the less pain points that you have towards your checkout, the more checkouts you're going to get. So, the pain point could be as simple as what Brad said, that there's too many sliders in a header, or it could be that the page doesn't load fast enough. It could be that, it could be
you lack
anything.
the payment icons. You lack payment icons.
And so
they don't feel safe enough to make the purchase, and that makes them anxious.
So this lift model is really a great tool to think about, when you're trying to evaluate your value proposition and why it isn't getting effectively communicated to your customers. Why aren't people buying? This is what you would look at if you've got 100 people to your store every day, but you don't have any conversions, or it could be even 10 people. So a lot of people approach conversion rate optimization by just saying, oh, we need to just increase our traffic, when the actual thing that you need to do is just step back and say, hey, what are my users looking for, and what is it that I'm not giving to them? What is it that I'm not communicating effectively? And so this lift model can really put that into perspective for you.
Yeah, and just before we head into the last point of the lift model, a lot of people make that decision, like Alistair said, business owners, by the way, they make their decisions on their own. My target market is, let's say, this specific person who is this specific age, but you aren't making the decision with user-backed data. You haven't seen how your online store is performing, and so you're not making decisions based on how your visitors are feeling. And if you can actually get in touch with your customers and understand what they're looking for every time they land onto your brand, or when they see your brand, or what they feel when they see your brand, that type of feedback for you can give you so much value. So you want that type of feedback, but also giving them value back, making them staying. It's like I said before, it's always a trade. It doesn't have to be a monetary trade. Value can be created in many different places. So even in relationships, creating relationships with your customers, that's value, which will leave us. And then, before we sway too far away from this, but the last point would be urgency. What we've seen is if you can add a little bit of urgency to your value proposition, it will help it boost it a lot more. And that's why the urgency is the little fire at the back of the plane, which is kind of cool. So
so this is like, some people might say, I don't know if you've seen this on sites, but you'll go be on the product page and you'll see, like, they'll put the inventory amount there, so they'll say five left in stock. That's creating a sense of urgency for the user, or they'll say that this offer expires in 30 minutes, or they'll have a countdown like that. That's why Black Friday does so well. It's one day only where you get these unbelievable discounts.
Value. You get value. You as a customer get so much value, and that's why people love that day. The value, the plane is huge in this case. The relevance, completely irrelevant. 50% off, clarity. All you have to do is just purchase the product like you usually do. Simple, easy to understand, no distractions, no anxiety. Buy the product, it is 50% off, and get out of here. And that's why Black Friday is the perfect example. So let's just give you guys some examples of user interfaces that we've changed over the years. One of our clients is called Jekyll and Hyde Leather. Some of you might have heard of them, and they're one of our oldest clients actually. And this is how their web page or their product page looked when we started working with them. And Alistair's gonna jump to the next picture, which would be what their product page looks now. And then we can really see a lot of the differences. But I see Alistair wants to speak, so he can just dive in there.
No, sorry, Brad. I just get really excited about this because with Jekyll and Hyde, it was interesting because it's obviously a luxury brand. So the first thing we said, okay, it's a luxury brand, but your user interface, your shopping experience it doesn't look a luxury.
It doesn't feel luxury.
It doesn't feel luxury. So that's one of the things that we had in mind in terms of the relevance. Okay, and then we moved on, and we obviously made the pictures seem a little bit more relevant. As simple as just adding a little drop shadow here, the pictures seemed more exclusive, more relevant to the price,
had more depth.
100%. And we obviously made the user face more usable by having drop downs instead of having just plain text here. There's a description with different drop downs for the relevant features and stuff that the user can go through. But essentially, it was just about matching the user experience to the brand, ensuring that we communicated the brand through the user interface and the user experience.
And it's also not, sorry, I don't mean to step in, but
No
it's
worries.
also not just about, showcasing the brand and the type of brand, like I said earlier, it's also including your user in there. So what we did was we looked, if you take a look at the old product page, you can see how, there's a style code there. And the style code isn't even relevant to the user itself. So what we did in the change was we took the style code completely out. Why make the user read that additional information, waste that additional bit of time on something that isn't relevant to them, and that'll just drive them away. So if this is a perfect example of distraction and anxiety. Now they're confused. What style is this 3712? I don't understand that. It confuses me. Okay, this is obviously more complex than I imagined. And then
100%.
we also, brought everything a little bit closer together and narrowed down the content. The whole reason why we created the tabs, which we'll explain, is because of SEO purposes. And for some of you that might not have attended or might not have been able to attend our previous meetup, we had a huge, long, in-depth conversation on search engine optimization, and you can actually download our free PDF, completely free, on our website. And basically what it explains is how the more valuable content that you have on your pages, pages that your visitors will land on, the more people you will attract to your page, the more organic traffic you will get, as well as higher conversions, because you're getting high quality traffic. And this is like the key point in search engine optimization. So what we did for them was we saw their old product page and we thought, and there's not enough content here, where's the delivery information, why is the measurements and features, positioned like that? It's so confusing. It's not user pleasing. So we broke it down into tabs so that the user can choose what information they want to be shown at any given point in time. Give them the freedom, and then so what we also did, you can notice, is that we only had the Shopify Secure, and that wasn't, at that time, from the data that we received, it obviously wasn't doing enough for them. So what we did was we added more payment icons, and we showed them, you can shop with all of these, and that alone makes them feel like, okay, great, MasterCard, MasterCard Secure, that's great. I can shop and know that I'm paying securely. And then what we also started to do was we brought, you can notice how the background changes. So what we did was we created something called an infinity background, where the product background and the actual web page's background are the same all the way across. So it looks like your products are floating on, are just floating on the page, which looks seamless, but a lot of people are changing that model now. And we're actually looking into changing that soon too. But what I wanted to say here was we made our page easier to read, content easily digestible, and then we added more value below the page, which we didn't manage to screenshot, but we can definitely say that for a later time.
Yeah. Cool. So then our last point is obviously optimizing your store for efficiency. So, not only just efficiency, but effectiveness, and basically tying in with how you can increase your conversions by also looking at the correct metrics. So we've got
15 things you can, 15 things.
Yeah, go ahead, Brad, you take it.
Yeah, so here we got 15 things you can start doing now to increase your conversion rates on your store. And, the reason why we've structured it in this specific way is because it would probably be best if you followed in this order, not just start from the bottom, top, or anything like that. So it's benchmark your conversion rates. You want to know what your store is doing and how it's doing at the current state that it is, and then you start optimizing your mobile first experience. So if you haven't done this yet, we're just taking you through if we were running your store. We would benchmark your conversion rates, and then we look at the mobile page design. How high is the bounce rates for your mobile users? And this data we can definitely retrieve from a free platform like Google Analytics. And so you want to start designing your mobile first experience, and then improve your site performance and speed, which is, compress your images, take out elements or remove scripts that you aren't using. And by scripts, I'm talking about like your apps. Every time you download an app and install it onto your Shopify store, you're essentially adding a script into your theme.liquid, which is the main file that your Shopify theme uses to run the entire theme. And every time you download an app, scripts can weigh down your store a lot. And if a lot of you have tried page speed insights, you might have seen one of the key areas, or one of the red points, is always to say compress your JavaScript, or defer your script tags,
Or
and things
minify.
like that. And yeah, or minify your JavaScript and CSS. Yeah, all of these can definitely and greatly help boost your page speed. And it's not too complex if you take the time to understand, the platform that you're building your brand on. And then, yeah, we can move on to creating high quality photos and copy. High quality photos can mean two things, in my opinion. And I think Alistair will also agree with me on this, because you can either be dealing with a luxury product, or you can be dealing with a product that is essentially giving direct value to the user. Like, let's say, a medical equipment, something as simple as that. For medicine, you would just need to show the content of the medicine, what's in it and what it does. And then compared to this luxury leather brand like Jekyll and Hyde, where you want to get different aspects of the product, and you want to see how fine is the leather, and you need to see that in the imagery. So you also got to take that into consideration. And then using a platform that tells the story. Yeah, did you want to say something?
No, so I mean, we basically just wanted to put this here. This is the type of things that we look at, as Brandon said, with all of our clients, in terms of, trying to increase your conversion. So there's a lot of data here. I don't think we should go through all of it, but, just take a look at it. And, if you guys think that you could do something like this on your store to improve your conversions, then, go ahead and do that. But, I think some of the most important factors we've taken you through, these are obviously just bonus things that you could look through. Some of them are repetitive, or going over what we've already done, but, just take a look through it, and a lot of them are intuitive, and you might think, okay, oh, that makes sense, or might not be relevant to your brand. But I think the most important things that we wanted to go through, that Brad wanted to go through in terms of your analytics, because there's I'm sure everyone has Google Analytics, or obviously you have Shopify Analytics, but these are some of the things that you should be benchmarking and looking at in terms of improving your conversion rates. I don't know if you want to take them through it, Brad.
Yeah, no problem. So we obviously have a little bit of a description beneath each point, which you guys can also read on your side. But if I could just explain it as easily as possible, your bounce rate is essentially, as soon as a user lands on your page, how long it takes for them to leave the page. And it's calculated based on your total amount of users and the average amount of time that they spend. And then your scroll depth is how far your users have scrolled before they left the page, or before they performed a specific action. And then your search traffic is the amount of people that are coming to your store from either Google search or Bing, or just a search engine, actually. And it can either be organic or paid. So you might notice from Shopify Analytics, it'll say direct. That's people going to your store directly. And then you've got your search. And then people might be confused, because that might just be your Google ads, you might be thinking, but it also includes your organic visitors too, your organic search visitors. And then you got your return rate, which is how often or how many, or how often a particular set of visitors come back to your store to shop, or either just window shop. And then you got your engagement rate, which is your interaction rates.
Sorry, Brad.
And yeah.
So I just wanted to say, with that return rate, that's that return rate, the rate at which, previous visitors come back to your store. This is often, an underlooked metric, but it's something that I think, store owners should focus more on, because, I'm sure you've heard that, the more times someone sees a product, or the more times they interact with the brand, the more likely they are to convert. So, with retargeting campaigns, or campaigns where you're actively trying to get your user back to your store, I think it's great to try and increase your customer return rates. It's often correlated with an increase in return rates correlates to an increase in conversion rates. So it's something that's quite interesting, I find.
Awesome. Okay. So engagement is, we're talking about the click-through rate on your site. So this is whether or not people are actually engaging or interacting with the pages on your site. And you can actually segment this to just go from an overall site perspective or down to the actual individual pages and understand, hey, okay, so my product page only has one button, and that's to purchase. And not many people are clicking it. I need to do something to get more people to click it. And this is, you see, it's these types of questions that you need to come up with that can help you understand what you need to do next. And then your conversion rate, this is, we've been talking about if you don't know what a conversion rate is at this point in this meetup, I think you're missing a lot. But conversion rate is essentially how often or the rate at which a visitor completes a specific action on your store. So it can be many things, and people might be confused with the fact that it could only be your purchases, but you can make a conversion, sign up to a newsletter, or how many people filled a specific form, or how many people clicked this button, and things like that. And then we got your time on page, how long a specific or set of users spends on each of your pages. This is good to understand because you need to know, if this page, if only people are spending only 3 seconds on this page, is that even enough for them to convert, or are you adding enough value on this page for them to stick and stay on? Is there content? Is there something I can that's relevant for me and relevant for what I need to do on the store? That makes me want to stick on this page. And then you've got your pages per visit. How many people or how many pages each visitor is spending or going through on your website or brand or online store. It's good to know because you don't want people to just be landing on your homepage. And then if they're landing on your homepage and then just leaving without performing any actions, you need to know if they're landing on your homepage, going to your product pages, visiting your about pages. It's good to know these types of metrics. And you can actually find all of this data through Google Analytics. And not many people are doing that. And we definitely encourage you all to do it.
100%. Yeah. So, I mean, that really just concludes our presentation. I know we're going to take some questions now, but I'm just going to go back to the original one of what we try to achieve today and maybe just summarize it before we get into the questions. Cool. So yeah, we basically went through today showing you that, with the pandemic and everything that's going on, there's a lot more new users coming to the market, which means, there's an increase. We're going to be seeing an increase in the amount of people that are interacting online. I read an interesting fact that, Kenya actually interacts more online and does more online payments than we actually currently do. And that's just because, I think it was something like our industry here in South Africa is the online industry is only 1.9 or 1.6% of our total retail spend. So somewhere like in the US where it's more developed, that's upwards of 20-30%. So there's a lot. We've got a big road ahead of us, and a lot of you now are kind of what you call early in the game. So there's a lot of opportunity, and if you really want to harness that opportunity, design your store with your user in mind, your end user, the person who, your target market. Put yourself in their shoes and design your store in such a way that it, that it
makes it easier for them to go
makes
through,
it easier.
User friendliness. It's also going to help them understand the type of content that you have in your store and the type of product that you're selling as quick and as easily as possible. And then we also talked about, increasing your conversion rate by putting a structured CRO process in place, and how, processing your entire, all your steps into how you're going to boost your conversions on your store can definitely help you understand, what's most important, what's least important, what do I need to focus on first? You need to plan out and the importance of planning. And then lastly, what we spoke about was optimizing, your store for efficiency, and the 15 things you can start doing now to increase conversions on your store. And that's
also the metrics.
The
metrics that you can look at, to get that efficiency to where you want it to be. But yeah, that's what we were looking at today, and I'm really stoked that everyone can join us. I think, we had some questions. Let's check which questions we can go
we had
through.
quite a bit of questions. Sorry we had to miss the questions. This is, we never really had to do this type of meetup before.
So Maria asks why you don't like using exit intent pop-ups. So this, like I said, it's really just relevant to the brand. So, we, with an exit intent pop-up, it's, it could be a pain point for a user. It could be really valuable in terms of what you offer, but, it could be something that annoys a user, especially if you have, a pop-up asking them to join your newsletter as they arrive at the store. And then before they exit, you have another pop-up, it could get irritating. And so that's why there's always a fine line that you have to go according to and see if it works for your brand, and test it. Go through your CRO process that we took you through.
Okay, and then so how do you want to do this? Should I ask you the question and you try to answer, or we both try to answer if it's relevant? Okay, so I'm just going to start from the top, and we've got sorry if I pronounce your name incorrect, but we've got Shalindra from Shalindra. She asked, can you include video clips in Shopify instead of images? And just before Alistair tries to answer this question, what I know now is Shopify, the platform itself, offers the capability for you to upload videos, MP4 format content onto your product pages, but you got to make sure your theme is compatible with the content too. So you just got to double check on that. And then we've got another question here. Somebody, Farhad, asked, somebody bought something from me and it's been like 3 or 2 weeks and it did not come, and I use Oberlo. And so, Alistair, I think I know we both know the answer to this, but do you want to answer this question?
Hello? I mean, you would have to, you'd have to communicate with Oberlo and the supplier, I guess, to find out why the order was lost.
But typically, I'm assuming you're trying to drop ship. And the biggest issue with drop shipping in South Africa is the delivery times. And that is one of the biggest factors to chasing visitors away or bringing visitors to your store, is guaranteeing delivery. And one thing we've noticed is if you're trying to drop ship from China to South Africa, especially, I mean, even before the pandemic, it took some time for products to get you if you didn't have an exclusive courier or logistical service set in place. So, that's where I see the issue coming from.
I would just say, just, like with the shipping fees, just make sure that your shipping fees are transparent. If it is a big lead time, then just make sure that your customers know that before they buy, and then, you won't have a customer experience problem down the line. So Shailendra said, does mobile include small and large form factor tablets, and doesn't Shopify themes already automatically optimize for mobile?
Okay,
so it's a great question. And I would say that Shopify definitely does give you both options, and it does have, depending on what theme you have, this is a big point. If you bought the theme from Shopify, you obviously have a premium theme. It's Shopify sanctioned, or it's Shopify supported. So, those type of premium themes definitely have responsiveness in them. Most themes do, and you can, change your screen size on the customization through Shopify to see the different screen sizes. We just say that, you can optimize it even further by, adding, an image on your mobile side that's more readable in terms of the screen size than it is on a desktop. Brad?
The way I see it is, a lot of Shopify themes nowadays, Shopify, the platform itself, allows you to change screens while you're customizing the store. And that in itself is responsiveness building as well. But mostly what's more important is whether or not your theme is adjusting the content to fit for mobile. Yeah. And a lot of themes actually do that nowadays, and they'll show you this by allowing you to, upload separate images for desktop and for mobile. And you would even go as far as to say that is AMP, accelerated mobile pages, because you can segment the content on your desktop from the content on your mobile. But the whole concept around AMP is basically making it so that the content served on mobile is less dense than the content served on your desktop, and more readable, because obviously we spoke about the value of mobile visitors. And then does mobile include small and large form factor tablets? Basically, screen size and responsiveness works on screen size, and that's it's a form of pixels. So mobile is typically from and beneath about 450 digital pixels, and then tablets are around 450 to about 750, and then desktops you can find up to 1080 or 4K.
But you also asked how often would you change your site once published. I'm thinking of brick and mortar stores that change their aisles because they want people to browse rather than walk in and out. That is a great question. And I would say, this is something we get asked a lot. Once you create your online store and once you've put it out there, it's not just finished. It is 100% like a brick and mortar store. You have to constantly be updating it, adding new collections, updating your landing pages, trying different things. That's what CRO is. It's a process that you iteratively execute again and again, with different outcomes to find what works best for you and your target market. So, how often would you change your site once published? I would say update your homepage once a week if you can.
If you have campaigns worth updating with, don't just slam on content up there that has no value. Try put on content that has value. Instead of just saying, oh, how often should I change or update my site, think of what campaigns can I start, and then create the digital assets that will showcase across your online store, for a specific sale that you're having, and then showcase that on your social media, and then send a newsletter out so that the users can see, the campaign on all different platforms. And then once that campaign's over, then you'll move next to the next campaign, changing the digital assets again and all that. And that's the process. But obviously this is after you've refined your store and made sure that your current store setup is ideal for the visitors that you're trying to target.
So another question is
I just want to add one more thing to that. Sorry. I just also wanted to say that your online store, it's like a baby. You got to take care of it. You got to change its diapers, changing the homepage, update its content, buying it new clothes. You got to do all these types of things that will help it grow and become strong. And
100%. I would 100% agree with that. Just constantly nurturing it and finding out what works for it best. So Gary asks, how would you integrate shopping into an existing traditional industrial product info website? So, this is obviously, there's two ways that you could go about doing this. You could, depending on what your current platform is that you're using, if they've got an add-on, if you're on WordPress, you could just, integrate WooCommerce and start adding products and accepting payments, or you could, transfer or migrate onto a Shopify platform, which could act as both your, traditional informational website as well as the e-commerce side of shopping and allowing people to buy products.
And I'm just stepping in here because Alistair interpreted that question a specific way. I'm just going to answer it in a way that I interpreted it. I believe Gary might have been asking in a way where he's thinking, how do I start selling industrial products online?
Okay.
And I think it just depends on your product lists and the type of products you're selling. I know you say industrial. Could you be a little bit more specific to that, is what I'm thinking? Because you definitely you can at this point in time you can sell anything online as long as you can transport it. And even if it's more complex, you can set up the forms necessary, the applications necessary to make sure everything falls in line, and can be fully digital. So it's always possible to go fully digital if that's what you're referring to, starting to go into e-commerce.
I think he was referring to what you were saying, and I kind of missed it, but
no.
Anyways,
two ways in there.
So C Duplessis says, I would like to find out if you can suggest specific popular payment methods for South African Shopify users. Obviously, the first one. The first one we
That's
would obviously
perfect.
say is PayFast. You know, they're sponsoring this, so PayFast is obviously a great way to go.
Payflex.
Other options, you know, there's things, there's
Don't you mean
PayFlex,
Payflex? You mean Payflex is
which
sponsor. Oh,
yeah,
Payfast
so
and Payflex.
yeah, so Maria also asked about a pay later option. So there's also PayFlex, which is actually a pay now and a pay later option. So, you know, if you want us to help you get in touch with them, just send us an email. Yeah, so I would say, you know, Paygate, PayFast, PayFlex, all those, you know, are great, really great, great ones. And we actually created a blog on our site yesterday, I think it was, where you can see all of the different payment methods. I don't know if maybe Jeremy can add that link to the chat for everyone to go check.
If not, I can quickly go fetch it. But yeah, we can move on to the next question so long.
Sure. So Urkham says, when would cash on delivery option, you know, I'm guessing say become an option on Shopify? So, you know, obviously this is dependent on how you fulfill your deliveries. You know, are you fulfilling them through a third party like UAfrica or logistics network, or have you got your own, you know, delivery function that you have, you know, do your own deliveries that Shopify actually allows now. So if you are doing your own deliveries, you could just add a manual payment method to do cash on deliveries. If you're not doing your own deliveries, you know, you would have to speak to the logistical, you know, provider that you use to basically come up with some sort of solution to accommodate that. But you can definitely add it as a manual payment method.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so it looks like they're disconnected again. Let's just give them a couple of seconds to reconnect. It should be quite soon. Something that I also just quickly want to add, if you guys have any questions about UAfrica or questions that you think I can help you with, you're also welcome to shoot me an email. So I've just added my email address on there as well. So you guys can also email me. Alistair and Brandon, it's good to have you back. You can go.
Sorry about that. Thank God it only happened at the end, but honestly. But yeah, I'm sorry. I think I lost a lot of these questions. If it's possible, Danny, is it possible if you could just screen share the window? Yeah, sure. Actually, that'd be great.
Okay, one question that we have here from Joshua. Do you think a certain e-commerce platform will monopolize the South African market, such as Amazon in the US? And how could one guard against this via the design and setup of your store?
Well, if you're talking about, let's say, if an Amazon type of business were to come to South Africa, it shouldn't chase you away from getting into e-commerce at all. In fact, you should use the Amazon to help you, you know, source more products and help you increase your opportunity on how you can, you know, maybe expand your product range, or how you can perhaps sell a product that they might sell, or sell it on their platform. You know, if you're talking exactly like Amazon, you know, there are many different ways that Amazon opens different factors where people can make money through that actual platform. And, you know, if you're talking about Amazon again, in America, Amazon exists, and I can tell you there's still plenty and plenty of online stores out there that people are just shopping from daily. You know, there's money in the market, always money to be made in the market.
Cool. Okay, I think let's just ask the 2 more questions that we have on here now. Okay, so does Honeywell offer a service to review a current store and make recommendations?
Well, we currently offer, in terms of like audits, we do our SEO audits, which is a service that we offer. We also have our free SEO audit tool that is on the Insaka e-commerce academy blog. Actually, we recently did an interview with Warwick where we spoke about search engine optimization, and right after that we implemented a widget tool on his store, and I mean on his website, and you can actually do a free audit there if you'd like. Other than that,
yeah.
Do we do any other type of audits?
Yeah, I mean, we do conversion rate optimization. So, you know, that usually starts with, you know, first looking at your store and understanding the consumer pain points, and obviously going through that CRO process that we just outlined for you guys.
Cool. Okay, then last question that we have on here. Also on Google Analytics, there is a tagging configuration. What does that refer to? Is that the tags with regards to the words that users use when searching something on Google?
Do you mean keywords or do you mean tags?
So yeah, there's different aspects to that. There's obviously Google AdWords, which uses your keywords to market to people directly. And then there's Google Analytics, which, you can set up tags and parameters customly to essentially attribute certain, whatever the campaign is, you can attribute certain tags and parameters to those campaigns so that it shows up in Google Analytics, and you can basically make sure that you understand where that traffic is coming from. I don't know if I'm right in saying that.
If what you're talking about is UTM tracking, this is excellent for marketing purposes and understanding how you can actually edit your URLs that you're putting on your marketing platforms so that you can actually finally track exactly how your users are performing in terms of clicking through that link and landing on your store, how many, what they do when they landed and things like that. And yes, that is something you can do on Google Analytics, and it's very, very simple to implement. All you have to do is just set the actual UTM tag and then just apply it into your URL that you're using for your marketing platform. Google will directly feed that the data back to the analytical platform, and then you can just create a custom report or actually use one of the pages that they offer to show you exactly the data that you're looking for. I hope that answers your question, but please let me know, or please let us know if we aren't answering your questions properly, or if you have more questions. We're always happy to answer. Yeah.
Awesome.
More questions? Doesn't seem like
no more questions, eh?
No, it doesn't look like it. So what I think we can do is we can close it off here. And then
Awesome.
What I would suggest is that if anyone has any questions now, or if you are lying in bed tonight and the light bulb goes off, there's a question that you didn't ask, I've included my email address and your email address in there as well. So if you guys have any questions, email myself at Marketing into Africa, or email Brandon and Alistair at info@honeywell.co.za, and we will do our very best to answer your questions. Yeah, Alistair,
Definitely.
Brandon, thank you so much for taking time out of your lives and for sharing such insanely cool information with us. Like, I always learn something new at these meetups, and this was really, really awesome. So thank you.
I definitely hope we could answer and give everyone as much value as we hoped. We really wanted everyone to be able to get the value from here and take action immediately, even if it means just making a plan now. Always will take you a step further.
Yeah, definitely. And
we're always
just from my side, I just want to say thank you to UAfrica for letting us do this. And if everyone has questions, just shout.
Yeah, we're always happy to help out. And yeah, thank you to UAfrica and PayFast for hosting this.
And Danica especially.
Danica especially.
You know what? I feel like we should do another one in the next coming weeks, because this one was a massive hit. So
awesome.
We will chat tomorrow.
Awesome. Okay. Great. I'm glad. Okay. Awesome, guys. If you need to speak to us, you know where to find us.
Have a great evening.
Visit our website or just email us. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for visiting.
Stay safe.
Thanks, guys.
And hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Awesome.
Ciao.
Bye.